Hey, greetings traders, and thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday Women in Trading and Finance series number 4. We are very excited on this presentation, if you will, from a well-known FinTwit trader by the name of Tracy Shuchart, and we're going to have her on in a few minutes. But first, let me get Anand in the hot seat. How are you?
I am well, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good. Let me just, make a proper greeting. Good to see you.
You as well. You as well. Now, finally, I'm looking at you. The bell just hit, so
I know it. We're good. We're good to go.
we're good now.
So we've had some busy events in the background, obviously, with transition political regime.
Yeah.
And with that, a lot of encouraging signs for advancement of women and minorities. I mean, it is off the charts impressive to see first Black women as a vice president. First intelligence chief is also a woman, first cabinet pick of Biden, just announced today. That amazing the poem. I don't know if you watched the inauguration at all, but there was a young woman, incredible poise of 22, who gave the inauguration poem, and it was.
I didn't see that.
Did you hear about it? Did you see her? She just.
I saw like some of the pictures and everything.
Okay.
So
Anyway,
I gotta check it out.
It's given me goosebumps. It's encouraging, right? So we have this backdrop, if you will, of a political landscape that seems, much more inclined to work on this wealth and income inequality. We need to level up the space in trading and finance. Would you agree? I mean, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, of course. I'm still looking for some counterparts of the opposite gender in my office, as well as in my trading chat rooms and in my world as well. Frankly, the male energy is getting a bit tiring for me, so we're constantly. That's the point of this whole series, is to figure out what the what the sort of key points are to inspire the sort of new generation of women traders to come out and show up and take a shot out here. I mean, they're there. We know they're there. It just takes some time to work them out of the shadows, and hopefully we live in a world in 2021, 2022 that they show up and shout and we can see them. So what better way to do that than to showcase some successful women in trading and finance and share their stories and hopefully inspire the next crew.
That's the idea. And you and I both have opportunities for traders to join. But also we've been approached by some who have mentorship opportunities that want to help. And we mentioned it last time, John Devine, who's a quant specialist. I just wondering if you got any reactions. I think there was one woman in the presentation last time that expressed interest in making a connection, but we'll do that again at the end, just in case there are any who are interested in getting into the quant hedge fund space.
Yeah, my crew is growing as well, and the way that I foresee this, especially in the coming years, is that we're going to need a full squad. We're going to need a full squad of not only traders, but data experts as well as developers. Folks who can understand machine learning as well.
Yep.
So a lot in that world, in that world of tech and science, but also as it translates to trading and finance, and then eventually the psychology world, the emotional world, the behavioral world, and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to conjoin all those things down here in Puerto Rico, and as we're looking for talent, we are definitely specifically out here looking for women talent.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I know that there are some really talented quant developers out there, and some of the ones that I have talked with recently are actually going to a place called Big Tech IO and doing their own thing. And I just want to pitch this again. This is Jonathan's play that I have already discussed on my Tuesday macro to micro power hour. But he's telling me that there are, and of course, this is where my indicators are going to be residing. But there are women who are coming in, and he's very encouraging to that movement, especially they're, being found in Reddit and discourse and the like, but they're gamers.
Yep.
And they want to get into trading. And he calls it the gamification move. And this big tech platform that he has built is very adaptable for creating trading strategies. And these gamers are extremely savvy about creating their own algos. And so he basically has expressed this newfound, if you will, enthusiasm, not just in the young people's world of gamers and Reddit and discourse and such, but women who are creating their own algos and putting them on this space. Now, I'm one, who has done the same thing, and I haven't launched it yet. In fact, I'm really excited about that. We've got a February 14th Valentine's Day launch of my 3 indicator sets, and I'm going to make them freely available for a month because I want to get feedback, right? They're new products. I'm just really excited about that. But there's just not a lot of women who are in this space of driving algos and indicator sets and that kind of thing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And yeah, I think you're adding traders, but I also am wanting to do the same. So I have just launched, recently my YouTube channel is just starting to get together, but I do this macro to micro power hour with Jonathan because he's just such a brainiac and we have such a good alignment on the markets. But I have my stuff, of course, but I have added Andrew McConnell, who is a fabulous trader and educator. But I would like to, and he runs his own book on my platform for clients. He's got a phenomenal book. He had over 100% return last year, real money, prop trader. I want to have other traders like Andrew that come in and obviously run their book, IB, Interactive Brokers. But I want to have some women who come in and do this too. I mean, he's just a great risk manager. He's a great trader. He can also teach. So he responded to an ad. I hired him. But I would love to provide that opportunity for women as well, either existing or, I don't know, get them going. I just want to get that going.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not really hard per se. It's just you got to put it out there. You got to put it out there, and you got to direct it towards, those folks. And you might have to spend a little bit more time than usual sifting through, a lot of different resumes, applicants, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, I went through 90 applications for a data scientist. I think I went through an equal number of applications for a full stack developer. For traders, I didn't really put it out there because I already kind of have a network of traders. So I just kind of pinged out on Twitter, and of course, all of these followers just started hitting me up. Like, I'll do anything, man. I'll do anything, man. And I'm like, nope. Just checking them off. And finally, where there's a lot of young kids on the island that there's not too many opportunities here. They don't want to leave Puerto Rico, but at the same time, they got to figure out what to do while they're down here. So where do they go? Trading is one of those things that they have all gone to. They have all plunged into head first. So it's that kind of world that I'm able to pull from down here on the island, and hopefully find the find the grinders that I need.
So that's your job pitch. I have mine of sorts. But we're seeing improvement, in the political backdrop, and you and I are doing our part, not only having this conversation, but actively looking for others who want to level up and bring them forward. These women in trading and finance. I am so excited that just since we started this, I have had FinTwit followers and colleagues say, what about this, this woman, and I have several, big
That's
names.
Great. That's great.
Some in the shadows that should be bigger names. I know that you have a few on YouTube that have just large followings. It's impressive. Some offer services, some don't. But the point is, it's starting to spread, and I'm excited about that. You should talk to my colleague. She's been on a hot streak for 18 months, and I know her. I follow her. It's like I didn't have to reach out. So
Yeah.
this is definitely slow traction. We're getting there. And I think today's guest is extremely well known on Twitter. But she's also, you and I know her just from her timely, relevant tweets that help us, at least in my particular world, um, create context out of data. So she is very prolific in tweeting, not just her energy bent, which that's her kind of specialty, but a lot more than that. And she's such a brain. So I'm excited to have her on as well, because she's been in the space for a while, and she just partnered up with another colleague that I know, Tom Thornton of Hit Me. I only know Tom. I've had dinner with him in New York, but I can't remember the name of his firm. Anyway, well, it'll hit me in just a second. We pitched this already. We already said who she is, where she's working. Hedge Fund Telemetry. Forgive me, Tom.
Hedge Fund Telemetry.
So yes, I have a lot of respect for the work that that she has done on Real Vision as well. So excited that she accepted our invitation to be here. And
yeah, let's bring her on.
I'm looking at bringing her in. You ready?
Let's bring her on.
Got to find her first.
I'm actually just taking a look at the website right now, the Hedge Fund Telemetry. I'd love to ask her about what's going on at this place.
Where are you? I know you're in here.
Yeah.
I'm sorting by alphabet now because it'd be a lot.
Yeah, Latin American community too, by the way. Okay, we got her?
We got her. All right, Tracy, you have been made a panelist. Hello, hello. There's a T.
We got to unmute her.
Has to unmute. Ah, there she is.
There she is.
Oh.
Okay. I got it.
Hello.
There she is.
Hello there. It is so nice to meet you.
Yeah, definitely.
I have followed your tweets, but also your food pics. And oh my gosh, the cat travels.
I know. I got it all.
I'm a cat mama too. Okay, so how do we get you louder? Let's do that, because I can punch up your volume a little bit. Try that.
Is that good? Can you hear me now?
No, you're kind of muted.
I'm kind of muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get closer.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
That sounds better.
All right.
Much, much better. Okay. So we did this invite because I have followed you for quite a long time, and I was extremely happy, Tracy, that you ended up going on Real Vision, because you were really a hidden gem, absolute hidden gem. And then you got an audience, and I know you're, pals with Daniela DeMartin Booth, and that this is a great exchange that you two have. Big brains, unite. You can both create a lot of context from data. So a lot of people are good at data, but very few are good at context. And I think you do that extremely well. And I like that myself. I like to scan and synthesize and, and connect the dots and what is the real story and divergences, but you do that better than most. And so hats off. And that's why your following is ginormous. Like, what are you at, 138,000?
Yeah, I think I was following her when she had, I think you were, Tracy, you were only at like 20 or 30. And then I went on a Twitter purge. Like, I deleted everybody, including Samantha.
I was so mad.
And then we met at T-Bot, remember?
I do remember. And I was gonna bring that up too as one of these stories. And then when I went back and followed you, I realized you had 130,000 followers.
36.
So was that all Real Vision, or was it, what do you feel like most of that came from?
I don't know. It just kind of happened. I really don't know. I mean, I remember when I first got on Twitter and I had like 100 followers, and I thought I couldn't believe 100 people would want to hear what I had.
Me too.
I have no idea.
That is great. Okay, can you give everybody a sort of introduction on you, how you got into trading,
and come up to the mic.
Yeah. Okay, and then, and then progress kind of to where you're at today, kind of thing. How'd you get into this stuff?
Yeah, so I was working in medical supply
Okay.
industry, believe it or not, sales, and I hated it. Hated traveling. It was so boring. I was selling like custom extrusion and molded plastic components. So you can't really find anything more boring than that, really. So I decided one day that I wanted to get into this industry. I knew a couple people in the industry in Chicago, even though I had never been to Chicago before. And so I literally quit my job one day and I moved from LA to Chicago and just started knocking on doors.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, I had made the decision that I was just going to go for it. So I did.
What area in particular were you trying to go for? Like, obviously you kind of wanted to be in this industry, but what area was it that you
I had
were?
no idea.
Okay. So how did you, I guess, who gave you the shot? Did somebody give you a shot? Did you have to bust the door down to get it? Like, what happened?
So basically, I literally knocked on doors. I mean, I went to, and this was like 2005. And I literally went and knocked on doors. I went to CBOT and literally,
Yep.
tried to contact every brokerage there. I didn't really care, right? I mean, from the worst to the best. And I finally got, and I sent out interviews. I mean, there was, that's what Craigslist was big then. And I always had like brokers, and a lot of them were, kind of iffy. Like I went to some kind of iffy places. But I ended up getting a job pretty much like the lowest denominator you could be. It was a futures and options basic boiler room. Really was what it was.
Yep.
And that's where I started. They gave me a job. I was the only girl there. And it was literally one of those places that you're making 400 phone calls a day trying to get accounts to trade options on futures.
So you were a runner, or you were sort of like an order executor, like you would pass orders down, like what? How did it work?
Oh no, I was just in sales. I literally started in sales, like grunt work in a boiler room, calling
Got it.
asking for money.
Got it.
Like
Wow.
the worst, like I started at the bottom, literally at the bottom, the worst job you could have. But it's a
Wow.
good place to start if somebody wants to start in the business. I mean,
Wow.
I don't even know. Brokerages are totally different now, but
So then what was the progression after that? So you started this boiler room doing sales. It was obviously extremely complicated to get any traction.
yeah,
What
I mean, that
did
was
you do?
crazy. Yeah, so then really I worked my ass, really.
Yeah.
And you kind of get a reputation. I mean, the building's big, but it's not that big. Everybody kind of knows everybody there. And word just got around. So I got hired for another brokerage for managed futures. And then I went from managed futures to like an even better brokerage.
Yep.
And then I met a bunch of people that worked on the floor, just from being in the building again.
Right.
And I got asked to clerk on the floor, and I kind of worked my way up on the floor to managing a trade desk.
Yep.
And then I kind of broke off on my own.
So that's when you went from sales side. That's when you went from the sales side to the buy side.
Right.
What was it like? What was it like clerking out there in Chicago in the pits, man? What was it like, man?
It was cool. I mean, it was great. I was there kind of towards the end, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, there's still a ton of energy.
Yep.
It was, every day it was just, you're on fire, running all day. You don't even, the day goes by so fast and everything's so crazy and everything's so hectic. And you kind of have to make sense of everything that, that's around you, and kind of make your day make sense, right? And I think I use a lot of that now in the way that I approach my personal career, because I go through a bunch of information every day. I kind of pick out what I want and find a theme there, and then execute that into some sort of trade that I want to do.
So from clerking up to managing your trade desk, like what do you feel what do you feel like made you stand out? I mean, why you? I mean, in this whole, the building, and I'm sure you were one of the only women there. What was it? What was it that you did? What was your thing?
I don't know. I think it's just because I work really hard.
That's it.
I'm just a worker, and I just work really hard. Um, I get stuff done. I get
Yep.
stuff done quickly. It's just my work habits. I'm not afraid by any means of, walking into a male-dominated room or anything like that. And I think those personality traits, and helps me on the floor because you can't. I mean, I'm short too. I'm like 5 feet tall. So when you go into a room that's crowded and madness, and you have to kind of have a large personality to kind of stand out and get your stuff done.
Interesting. Tracy, actually, Rachel had a comment about that. Samantha, you keep this going here. I'm going to find the comment from Rachel.
You can find, okay, because I was commenting, I was thinking that was a similar comment by Miss Schneider when we had her on to a month ago.
Yeah.
She also started out on the floor, and she's, just athletic type, but small. And she had to navigate all the boys, if you will. And she did it because she had a father and brother, and, it just kind of water off her back. She did it because she had experience with it. Did you have any experience with it before you came into that situation?
No, not really. I mean, I think what really helped me, I guess, in my past, believe it or not, I went to an all-girls school for high school. And I think that, there aren't boys there that you don't care. You learn to be very aggressive. Girls can kind of be aggressive with one another. And so, I never had a problem when I went to college or, beyond that into the workforce, right? So I always just had that, I think, ingrained in me, that sort of confidence, and that sort of will to work, and that competition.
Okay, so competition, hardworking, no cure, and curious. I call that, that makes you kind of look at all the data points. How did you finally settle in? I didn't hear that, into the energy sector. I saw that you were.
So, I mean, I think that energy was just something that I always liked. In college, I studied Middle East. I was a poli-sci major, and international relations. I studied a lot on the Middle East, and it was just something that I always thought was intriguing from a young age, from college age, but didn't think of it as something I would pursue as a career. And then really I just kind of fell into it. I mean, actually the very first trade I did with my very first client was a crude oil trade.
Was it crude oil?
And it was a winner. So
okay, so a good feeling right there. And how long before, how long were you on your own? In other words, when you left that kind of organization, and I know you're in Montreal now, but I don't know what happened between then and now.
No. Okay, so then I went on my own. The floor was kind of dying.
Yep.
Our trade group, there was just not the money to be made there anymore, and everybody was kind of leaving. So I was kind of just forced to go out on my own. So then I was out on my own for a few years, and then now I work for a family office, and I work for hedge funds.
Okay, so you're doing you're publishing reports on Hedge Fund Telemetry, Tom Thornton's business from a few years back. You're both on Real Vision, but you also you're involved in, did you say private family office?
Like a family office.
Okay.
I manage an oil portfolio.
Okay.
Energy and materials, I should say.
Okay, which is a lot of the business in Canada. So okay, is it a Canadian business? I mean,
it's actually a U.S. based business, but we trade on both exchanges.
Didn't hear the last part. There's a little bit of audio that unfortunately it gets muddy. I can't hear.
Yeah, because I'm here. I trade on both exchanges.
Got it. Okay.
And NYC, mostly NYC.
So what made you kind of, I guess, take the leap to partner with Tom?
So we had actually been talking about it for, I don't know, like over a year. And he finally got everything together to move forward. And we just decided this fall would be a really good time to launch the product. This we'll be launching a new website in February. It should look really great. And trying to grow that at this point.
And how's, I'm just curious on the Real Vision side, how was that experience? Because that must have been at first a little butterflies in stomach, and now you're sought after.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first time I was on, actually the very first time I was on, I think was back in 2015 or 16, right when they were starting out too. But they were still big, but like it was still kind of new. And I remember we recorded it on my phone because I didn't have camera. So if you ever go back and look at those, they don't look terrible, believe it or not. But yeah, so and then of course now they're huge, and then it had been a couple of years, and so when I got asked back when they were huge, it was definitely a big deal. Definitely a big deal. A little bit nervous.
So definitely a big deal. I heard you say a few times. So obviously it kind of, it launched you and your Twitter following, into this recognition space where you're not only adding a lot of value to those who follow, and I'm sure those who get your service, but you're also like, women need to see what they can be. And you are actually very, very busy in your tweets and your exchange of information and making yourself available for this. So thank you for all of that, because I think it's the visibility that kind of helps, if you will. Other women come in and say, hey, she's doing great. Make room. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you really just have to, I think you just have to want to do it, and if you have passion for it, then I really think that that you can do it. I mean, literally, I knew nothing, zero, zilch. I think I took one econ class, the most finance that I ever had, right? So I mean, you don't necessarily need to have a finance background. You can just work really hard and do it, and that's what's so great about this industry, right? You don't need to come in with a degree. You can make room for yourself, and
Yeah.
that's inspiring for anybody.
Rachel had made this comment after. This is Rachel Shasa. She also has an options trading sort of service, and we had her on the webinar. We had her on the webinar series last week, and we were asking about her experience as a woman and running a service as well. That is, her chat room and her world too is also very male dominated. She said the whole conversation got me thinking about women in trading, and it comes down to not feeling like it's for them. Most women that dare to dive into trading end up talking, acting, trying to relate to men, and with good reason, but that just reaffirms that it's not the right profession for a normal woman. But then she rephrased it and said, essentially, even women in the business are culprits of pushing other women away if they are too aggressive in the way that they talk. So I was wondering if you had any comments on this. I have a ton of comments on this. Samantha, I know you have a ton of feedback on this, but what do you think about that, Tracy?
I don't know. I do think in general, women tend to be initially very competitive, or that's my experience coming from my background.
Yeah.
Having been in an all-girls school and things like that. So I think that's just kind of automatically women are kind of like that. Like, not every woman, but I think if you're a more aggressive woman, right, in general, I think that you see, like, I think that women see women as more of a competition, which is a shame than like other men.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of in this industry where it really should be not that. We really should probably pull together a little bit more. And women do that. I'm just saying that's just kind of what I have seen in this person.
Got you. Got you. I mean, when you were in the pits and, you know, as you said, you had to kind of be a loud voice, right? I mean, you had to kind of match their energy to some
Yeah.
extent, right? Just to even make a sound and create your kind of presence or, you know, and just kind of push yourself as a value add versus somebody that was just there.
Right.
And, you know, right. So if you have to match that energy, and if women have to constantly sort of find themselves trying to match that energy or even beat it, you know, being that aggressive, because I guess that's what Rachel is saying. We tend to, you know, she thinks they're pushing more women away just because most women, let's just say, can't match that energy or don't want to, or, you know, that's the reason why, you know, Samantha and I have sort of theorized that, you know, we're losing a lot of them in our chat rooms as well. I mean, it's like the voices are so loud in there, and they're so predominantly men, right? And
Right.
we're just not hearing from the other side. It's not that they're not there, but we're not hearing from them.
You just have to be louder,
You
girls.
got to be louder.
Listen, girls, if you're what, just be louder.
Well, I had put it a little bit differently, which was just take a seat at the table. You have a right. Don't lose.
Right.
Don't think you don't. Don't wait for an invite. Just take a seat at the table. And
Yeah.
I love how the different stories of getting to the table is basically what we're hearing in each interview. But on that comment that Rachel made, or
Yep.
To me, there's a quote that I actually saw today when I was looking at a journalist. She's in the business and finance space, called Jessica Stone. Just happened to catch me, and she said, you don't have to lose your identity to identify with others.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
a
that
good
is,
quote.
it's a
Yeah.
great quote, and it was in the context of cultural relations. You know, she does a lot of traveling, and, you know, this whole, it was basically energy, you know, in traveling the Middle East and all of that. But that concept to me was very much relatable to women, if you will, and men working together, and men, yes, making some way is one way, but also women just not losing their identity. So you don't have to lose your identity to identify with others. And I think you can just kind of read into that what you want, culturally or gender wise. But that was a good quote.
That's
Yeah.
an excellent quote.
So Tracy, you are also like a speaker as well now. No, I mean, you're at least before COVID, you were doing a lot of speaking engagements and everything.
Doing some trader summits and things like that.
Okay.
It took me actually, it's as big of a personality as I have, and as much as stuff that those are the worst. Like, it took me like a couple years to get used to those. Like, I would get seriously like, I wanted to throw up before.
Nervous. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And
Yeah.
you know, and maybe it's like the ones on video I think are okay. It's the ones in person.
Yeah.
That I did that I was like,
Yeah.
just get sick right before that.
But you're getting over that, because you got to keep pushing, right? You want to go forward, and you got to get outside your comfort zone. You get comfortable with that, then you get outside your comfort zone a little bit more.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
So, I mean,
so yeah, and that's just really what you have to do. And I think that's also really good advice in life. Like, you know, go do something that scares you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
As long as you're not willing to risk, you know, what you're putting out. I mean, willing to risk is one thing, but, you know,
Don't do anything dangerous. Just I mean,
no, I'm talking about reputation. Because that's really our major value, is the reputation that we bring. You bring on FinTwit, for example, and I'm sure to your clients and to your family office, this trust factor, this ability to synthesize data into context and make recommendations, you know, based on your just that voice of confidence and analysis. If you just didn't have that trust factor, you wouldn't be on Real Vision. You wouldn't have 136,000 followers. So your reputation is very valuable. And I think that is kind of why we asked you to share. Who else has really been kind of helpful in supporting you? I have seen, for example, Daniela DiMartino Booth engage with you, and she's a very strong woman in macro space. and she has a lot of male energy. She's one who's like, she's not going anywhere. She's gonna bolt through that freaking door.
She's fantastic, but
Yeah, she's
she doesn't
fantastic.
have that. She's very there.
She's very there, but she's also ridiculously competent. So that's an extremely high bar. She's done the work, and she is, no question, one-to-one, she is head and shoulders above many that she engages with. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, so she has that, and she's got the
Brilliant.
confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other women that have kind of reached out and really kind of supported your and brought you up with them?
I mean, Danielle and I became friends, a couple of years ago. And besides that, I've always somehow been in a situation where I'm the only kind of woman, so I didn't really have any kind of mentor, which I really wish that I would have. And if I could help somebody, I would love to be able to do that, just because I didn't really have I didn't really have that. I had kind of, have my group of peers that I've made. But, had I had a mentor, it would have made probably some things a lot easier.
Well, this is needed for Real Vision also to have more representation by women. It's funny because I was early on kind of hard on Raoul Powell, saying you do not have enough women. And it's, wonderful that Danielle is so competent, but there are others. And Juliet from JDI is also a frequent contributor there. And she's off the charts macro wonk. And she's actually offered to be on this show as well, which is fabulous. But there are people who've said, good, you need to keep reminding them, because they go to the same pool, and this is across platforms. It's not just Real Vision. There are a lot of very successful, money managers. They happen to be men. So the fact that they're, looking to incorporate more women, and you were one of the early ones. Have you seen any other kind of, I guess, change in bringing in other women on other platforms? I mean,
I think we're getting a voice more and more. You see like Pippa Malmgren, right? And
I love her. Yep.
Stephanie Pomboy, and you see, what I'm starting to see really is on the podcast. People are having more and more women. So I think that's a really good start. To try and incorporate women kind of more into the industry. But I'm seeing a lot more women in the podcast, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here? I mean, because obviously you're now on the radar. You can do some, appearances on the networks and that type of thing. Would you do that if you were asked?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course I would. I mean, I feel confident enough now to, I wouldn't be apprehensive to, make an appearance.
Because there are questions that, like the Keystone Project that, that just passed. They want to know your views. You have a lot of engagement on Twitter, and they're even coming in going, okay, what do you think about this? Because they like your insights on this. And I, by the way, think you're very generous with your time on Twitter. I can't possibly engage the amount of time and I would say care that you actually give people who respond to you is off the charts busy for me. I could never do it.
I try. I try. I try to answer as many people as I can, right? Especially if people have legitimate questions.
I'm sorry, say it again.
If people have legitimate questions and you're curious about something or want to engage in conversation, I try to, engage those people. Obviously, not everybody's that way on Twitter, but
yeah.
Oh, it's too fun. Did you see the comment? Observer who's in the room. Said,
this is a great comment right here.
Go ahead, read it.
Tracy, Observer, who is a man, he pointed it out. He said, ask her if she remembers DMs with a little squirrel on Twitter that was hopelessly short Tesla at the beginning of the pandemic. Tell her that squirrel never gave up, and using a strategy she outlined in a previous interview, he ended up hitting Tesla really nicely. Appreciate you all and the information. He says he's not a woman, but would be interested to talk with Tracy about a potential mentorship. So clearly you got some people out here you're clearly helping.
Oh, yes.
And it's a good thing. That's a good
That
thing.
makes me feel good. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, and I think your story of coming from selling medical devices, which I thought of that Will Smith Pursuit of Happiness thing, where he was selling that
was painful.
device or whatever.
Kind of like that.
Think of Tracy just rolling up to a hospital to a rando doctor
Right?
with some hardware and just being like, "Listen, you got to buy this shit, man. You
It's
got to
kind of
buy this
like
shit."
that, exactly.
And then transitioning to a world that you know nothing about, moving from LA to Chicago. Chicago is, of course, home to this kind of world. You must have known somebody in Chicago. Somebody must have planted a seed.
So
That's
yeah,
kind of
no,
what
I
want.
knew a couple people in Chicago. I had just never been to Chicago.
Right,
But I knew a couple people in Chicago, and I had been kind of talking to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was on like MySpace.
But for her to be able to dump a whole career and decide like, hey, I'm gonna start from the friggin' bottom here. That's
Yeah,
that's some
I
serious
was
stuff.
younger then.
Of course. And we can take more risks when we're younger. And I think the younger crowd, like if you go to the TikTok crowd right now, there's a good amount of TikTok influencers who are women, who are very young women, and who are
Absolutely.
literally just talking about buying stocks left and right. And they're talking about it and they're learning as they go. And they're teaching all kinds of other folks, preteens, on how to do this kind of stuff. So it's kind of wild, man. It's kind of wild. We got to find a way to merge the worlds here, but it's happening. It's slowly happening.
Absolutely. TikTok's a trip, man. I think it's great. I mean, a lot of people make fun of them and,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
man, they're out there doing it.
They're out there doing it.
More power to them.
Carrie is asking you, Tracy recommended on Twitter the book, The King of Oil, which was great. Saying amazing how many of the players stuck around like a fungus. Does she have any new books to recommend? Any new books for these folks?
New books. But what did I just read? I can't even remember. It's been a while, you guys. I'll put some books out on Twitter.
All right, that's your fans, your loyal fans.
In my head. I haven't read any oil books lately. That's why. But I've read a couple good books. I'll put them on Twitter.
Oh, it's oil books. Anything by what is her name? McLean. The oil analyst. No, doesn't ring a bell. Oh my God, she's so good.
Oh, Ellen. Ellen, who brought Saudi Ink.
Saudi Ink?
Yeah. Ellen. Yeah. Ellen, yeah, that book's great. Her book's great. Read that book.
Okay. No, it really is, but I can't
remember.
No,
it is a great book. Ellen's super smart.
Indeed. All right, so Tracy, let's leave them with like, what's in the future for you? What are you working on right now? What's in the future for you?
So, I just started this new project with Tom Thornton at Hedge Fund Telemetry. So I'm kind of really excited about that.
Can you explain that, by the way? What is Hedge Fund Telemetry and what do they do? Is it a research group?
So we're a research group. I cover energy and materials.
Got it.
And basically that's it. We do research for, the retail client all the way up to, institutions.
Got it.
And so that's what we do. So we're trying to grow that more from his 1 person to 2 person, and perhaps some more. And then Danielle and I might be working on a project together. So that might be coming up in February. Between that, my job, and those 2 projects, I'm pretty busy.
And you're right where you want to be. I mean, you're working with some very respected and well-known analysts and educators, and you're in your wheelhouse. Where do you want to kind of figure out in your own brand, would you ever do anything more just on your own?
Yeah, definitely that's a possibility. Absolutely. It's a possibility. So, that definitely will have something along those lines.
We'll be
maybe in a
watching.
year or two.
Yeah,
We'll see.
absolutely.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
Right now, I have these new projects, so
Yeah.
Kind of
Any
where my
advice?
focus is.
Any advice for the young women, or or the retirees, out there that are looking to get into trading, specifically the the women who are involved in a lot of the chat rooms? Any advice for
Yeah,
the women out there in trading and finance?
yeah, I mean, really, you just kind of got to be a little aggressive in this industry, and especially, and I have noticed, I mean, back in the day when I was in chat rooms, that
Yep.
not a lot of women, and the women definitely don't talk as much. So,
Yep.
just go out there and talk. Just see the conversation, right?
Right.
I mean, just start talking.
As simple as that. It is as simple as that. I'd love to see it. So we need more views out there, Tracy. Just saying that one statement. It really is as simple as that. So, all right.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Really appreciate meeting you
guys.
officially. Continued success in your partnership projects and your own ascending star.
After COVID, Tracy,
Right.
Tracy, let's get up on stage together. I'd love to see you up on stage.
Let's do it.
All right. Have a great weekend. Rest of the trading week.
All right.
Bye-bye
You
now.
too, you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Oh, Anand, I think I lost you. I guess we're done. Sorry. Have a great night.